0968 261196. You may also come in person to our offices located on plot number 4 Zambezi Drive, Meanwood, Ibex Hill, Lusaka.
This is your time to shine. Don't delay to battle it out in
Battle of the Choirs.
Battle of the Choirs. See you there.
You're welcome to CBC Breakfast with me, Martin Lutona. It's good to have you joining us, and I know that you had a wonderful sleep, if you did have sleep, and if you were not working, because I know some people work in the night, whereas others are sleeping, others at work, and it's still a good day that the Lord has made, and this is a blessed day. It's a new day. It's not like yesterday. Yesterday, with its challenges, whatever pain that were brought from yesterday, those things have remained in that day yesterday. So today is a different day. And even you, as you watch, I know that you're a different person, because who you were yesterday is not how you are today. Do you know that you've grown by a day? Because yesterday, your age was less than what you have grown to today, because you have a day that has been added to you. This is just about 704. It means that the 7 hours that you have, you've grown by 7 hours, if you like. Some of you will talk of the birthday. Maybe your birthday was last month, your birthday is yet to come, and each day we are growing. Each second there is growth. Each minute there is growth. Each hour there is growth. So each one of us are in this transition. We are moving from one day, week, month, years. So growth happens every day. Maybe you didn't know that we are growing. We are people that are growing. How you were yesterday is not how you are today. The problems that you faced yesterday, it's up to you either to carry them, to bring them on into this day, or you suggest to say the problems of yesterday remain, and you don't see them again. You don't encounter them today, because you've transitioned. It's a new day, and so we make decisions that are new. Even as you approach the day, or whatever it is that you have to face in this day, it will have to be different. Don't live in the past. You're not living into yesterday. And so on the breakfast show today, we'll be focusing on depression as well as mental health. People are depressed. Maybe as you watch me, you are going through depression. We'll look at the causes of depression. Why are people committing suicide? Why are people even going through problems that some of them can be controlled, can be managed, and yet someone go ahead and even take their own life because they are so much depressed? Very depressed, maybe because you lost a loved one. You're depressed because you lost a job. You're depressed because you are disappointed by a lover. You're depressed because you don't have money. Depressed because you can't have a child. You are depressed because you can't get married. You are depressed because people are troubling you, and you are at your wit's end. You want to run away from this life because of the things that are around you. But like I said, it's a thing that you decide, because the problems of yesterday, I know that some problems are cumulative because you made a bad decision yesterday, and so it's carrying on into the next day. But it's up to you of how you approach the new day and what you must do. And so on the breakfast show today, those are some of the issues that we'll be discussing. We'll be talking about these and many others. And so as my guests come, we'll be having different people to interact with, and they'll be giving us views of how it is that this can help you who is watching from whatever depression that you could be having, the mental problems, the mental issues that you're going through, those bad thoughts that you're harboring and the things that are going through your mind. We will have a biblical perspective of that, and my guests will speak into that, so that you just get to have a balance of life. You get to understand that you shouldn't suffer in your brain. You shouldn't suffer in your mind. You shouldn't suffer in any way that God created you to be, because your mind is an engine of everything. It's like a pivot. The mind is the factory of all the things that would happen in life. They manifest in life because there is this production going on in the brain. So in the mind, as you think, the mind is that power that will create. The mind as that power that will destroy. God has given us a sense of feeling, smell, hearing, touch, and taste. So the 5 senses that God has given us, the neural system, how it is that the spine communicates with the brain and tells the brain to say, you have an injury on the toe, you have an injury on the finger. So the sensory neurons will send a message to the brain, telling the brain to say, there's something wrong with your leg, there's something wrong with your hand, there's something wrong with your kidney, there's something wrong with your heart, there's something wrong with your back, there's something wrong, there's an infection that has gotten into you through the leg, there's an infection that has gotten into you through your breath system, there's an infection that has come into you. The sensory neurons will send that message, and it's just like it's in a flash. It communicates, it moves so fast that it gets to the brain, and the brain is told just that. So it's the same brain that will tell you to say you are owing someone and they're about to come, and immediately that pops into your brain. You want to run away, you want to survive, you want to tell you your spouse is caught in adultery with someone else, and immediately a message is sent to your brain. What must you do? So there are these questions. How do you respond to such circumstances? How do you respond when you're faced with a challenge like that? How do you respond when you don't have what you need? How do you respond when things are not working as per expectation? How do you respond when you're going through these problems? How do you respond when you've lost a job and you don't want to tell anyone, not even your wife or children? You want to keep it to yourself, and you begin to lie and say, I'm on leave, I'm on this, and you can't be honest, and that affects your brain. It's a mental issue. It gets into your brain, and maybe you've done a lot of wrong things, and that has affected your mind. It's a mental issue. It begins to eat you up, and you're going through problems, and your mind is troubled. Your mind is powered up because things are not sorted. You've not resolved issues. You leave things hanging. Things are hanging, and you're on your way, and you don't care. It's like a driver who is driving, and I think we've seen. I've personally encountered a driver who would hit someone, and then they drive on, and then they go and hit another vehicle, and they hit another vehicle until such a time when the car can't move, because someone is driving carelessly. Maybe they are under intoxication, they are drunk, or maybe they have these medulla problems. Their brain is is not working well, and so they just go, they bash this, they bash that, they bash that, and they have not resolved. Maybe the moment that person, that driver bashed that human being, if they stopped, that would have been resolved. Maybe they would have just sorted out. That person didn't even die, and they could have just spoken, taken the person to the hospital. That's the normal response you give yourself. And maybe you bashed someone, you're a driver, and you went to a place where you're not known. It's called hit and run. You just bump into a person, the person is lifted on high, you pass under with your speeding vehicle, the person hits the tarmac, and they die. You go because it's in the night. You haven't told anyone, you have been silent about it, no one knows, and your conscience is troubled because you have that guilty conscience. Your conscience is sour because you did something wrong. You never confessed. You didn't tell anyone about it. You have been keeping it to yourself. Your mind is troubled. So you're having mental issues. You're having problems because you can't resolve. So there is a problem in your mind. You've not resolved that. You killed a person accidentally or by will. By decision, you decided to kill someone. You've not told anyone. Maybe it's your boyfriend, your spouse, your whoever. You pretended, you acted like you're a robber, and you pretended like somebody entered the house and they killed your spouse, and you are set free. Maybe no one has known about it, and you are the only one that knows. Maybe you poisoned your spouse, you poisoned someone and they died. You've never been found. You've played smart, and God has given you an opportunity that you've lived up to this time. Your mind is troubled. You have this mental problem, mental issues. You see the person that you killed, you see visions and whatnot, and you are being taught to commit suicide. Your mind is not at rest. You've been going through those problems, and time after time, you can't sleep. You can't just enjoy time. Maybe you did something very bad that you've not gone over. You suffer shame. You suffer in your brain, in your mind. You have all these problems. Your mind is not at peace. You are having problems. You are troubled. Depression has caught him. You are depressed, and depression causing you not to eat, not to sleep. You can't sleep even if you are in bed. Your eyes can't close. You have insomnia. There is no sleep in you. You can't sleep, not even a second. 2 weeks has gone, you've never slept. 2 days, you've never slept. 3 days, 4 days, you've never slept. The neural system is communicating something. You haven't been eating, you are depressed. As you starve yourself, your body may just fail you. You may collapse and you die. You are having mental problems, mental issues. Maybe it's drugs that you've been abusing. You've abused drugs, and no one knows, and you think you're smart. You have mental problems, mental issues. You are troubled, and that has gone into a calling on depression. You are depressed. You don't enjoy anything in life. Life has become sour. There is nothing good that you can enjoy in life. You can't. You have no appetite even. You pretend you go for a party or something with friends. Even when you're eating food, it's not you eating. You're just pretending. You're depressed. You can't bath. You can't even go to the toilet or anything. You are depressed because of the mind. You are troubled, and sin has overwhelmed you. You've done wrong things, and all of a sudden you've decided now to continually live that kind of life. You're moving from one sin to another, from one offense to another. You become a vagabond. You're just committing offenses through and through. Maybe police are looking for you. You are on the run. You are hiding. You don't want to be found out. You are hiding because you are running away from law enforcement, and whichever policeman you see, policewoman, you think they are coming for you, and depression has gotten into you. You are troubled, my sister, my brother. So depression and mental issues, that is what we are discussing today. So I'll be joined by guests in studio, where we'll delve into detail to discuss these issues that are affecting many people. And it's so surprising that even young people are going through this. You find a child is depressed because of what they've been exposed to. Maybe they're exposed to abuse from the parents, abuse from the peers. They are bullied, maybe at school. There's a bullying policy, anti-bullying policy in the Ministry of Education, where children must be protected because they are bullied, and the bully is at peace, whereas the victim suffers. A child is going through mental issues, mental problems, because they are bullied at school, and the bully is at peace. The bullying child is all well with the parents, and maybe the parents are the ones that send this child to go and bully other children at school, because the father or mother, they are bullies themselves, and so the child learns from the parents and goes out to bully other people, goes out to injure other people. It's orientation, how you do things, your children are seeing, and that spills into other children. They are committing offenses because you, the father, are doing the same. Maybe you're a robber, you're a thief, and your children, all of a sudden, spiritually, they pick that, and you don't know. When they grow up, they start doing the same. They are just like that. A family of robbers, a family of thieves, a family of prostitutes, a family of that, a family of all that, because it's passed on. It's something that is implanted in children, and they are going through that because their parent is going through the same. So, dear friend, these are some of the issues that we'll be discussing, that I'm bringing to the fore this morning on the CBC Breakfast. And the numbers that you call for contribution or suggestion or contribution to the program is 0974 57 8988. The numbers are 0974 57 8988 or 0960 74 1864. 0960 74 1864. Those are the numbers that you call for contribution, or you write a message, SMS, or you can even send a voice note to 0968 26 11 96. 0968 26 11 96. As a viewer, what is your experience with depression or mental health issues? Have you had those problems? Have you experienced them yourself? Or have you seen someone that has gone through that? Have you seen someone suffering from mental health issues? What is your take? Just give us that contribution on 0974 57 8988 or 0960 74 1864. I'd like to hear from you, or you can send a voice note, WhatsApp voice note to 0968 26 11 96. 0968 26 11 96. Those are the numbers that you call to contribute on the program concerning depression and mental issues. How it is that you can get to understand depression and mental issues. What are some of the things that you need to do? What do you have to say? What is your contribution on these mental issues that we are discussing? As you watch, give us those suggestions if there's anything that you need to contribute to the program. A few headlines of happening. Over 3,500 health workers face job cuts as USAID withdrawal hits Zambia's HIV/AIDS response. In the headlines there we see that over 3,500 health workers face job cuts as USAID withdrawal hits Zambia's HIV/AIDS response. The Ministry of Health has announced that it will not renew contracts for more than 3,500 health workers employed under the Ministry of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Centers for Disease Control and Health Prevention, and then a cooperative agreement following uncertain surroundings that issue. So that is one of the headlines that you look out for. And any other, someone said there is a Ministry of Health announcement there, yes. HIV/AIDS people that are concerned in that. And then it's, we value China friendship, but Zambians' safety comes first, says Vice President. HH's statutory instrument on judges and judicial undermines judicial independence, says Sangwa. These headlines that you find in the News Diggers or any other paper around. So those are a few headlines that you get. Today is the 12th of September. It's a Friday, and very soon we will be having the Minister of Finance as well announcing the national budget for next year. I think that is happening next week because Parliament opens very soon, and so as that happens, you need to look out for that presidential speech, as well as the minister's national budget announcement for next year. So we expectant, and so that is what you need to look out for, even as you continue as a citizen of Zambia. There's a lot that we can talk about, but more so we're talking about depression and mental health issues. You are depressed, you have health issues. What are some of the causes? What can you do to overcome that? What does the Bible say concerning depression? What does Scripture tell us concerning the mind? That is what we'll be discussing, even as I'll be joined by guests in studio. We'll take a breather, and on the other side, I should be with you. But before that, we can listen to Hillsong, Healer. That's the title of the song. And I pray that God may heal you from depression, that you be healed from mental issues at the end of it. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the other side.
believes what we have heard and we have seen? Who would have thought that God's saving power would look like this? The servant grew up before God, a scrawny seedling, a scrubby plant in a parched field. There was nothing attractive about him, nothing to cause us to take a second look. He was looked down on and passed over. A man who suffered, who knew pain firsthand. One look at him and people turned away. We looked down on him. We thought he was scum. But the fact is, it was our pains that he carried, our disfigurements, all the things wrong with us. We thought that he bore it on himself, that God was punishing him for his own failures, but it was our sins that did that to him, that ripped and tore and crushed him, our sins. He took the punishment, and that made us whole. And by his stripes we are healed.
You are still watching CBC Breakfast with me, Martin Lutona, and like I said, we are discussing depression and mental health. As of yesterday, we heard that it's a police officer that took his own life, and he just shot himself dead and in a pool of blood. And it's a listing that you expect of people in uniform, men and women who are trained to kill themselves. It's a very last thing that should happen. But more so, you find that in the past, the weeks and months that have gone by, we have had issues of students. A student borrows money or they get a loan, and because they are overwhelmed, then this kid takes their own life. They kill themselves. And someone, because of betting, they have spent a chunk of money. Their savings is lost. They commit suicide because they didn't get a jackpot. And as a student who the girlfriend disappoints them, they are left, and she goes and says, "I'm not interested in you anymore." The guy commits suicide, and someone who borrowed a 30,000 kwacha, and they thought they couldn't find that money, and they killed themselves like that. Joining me in studio is no other than Pastor Joel Chisompola. He is a pastor at Christ Life Church. He's a counselor and teacher, and someone that helps in the ministry to get to speak with people and grow them in the faith. He's here with us. Pastor Joel, good morning and welcome to the CBC Breakfast.
Good morning to you, and good morning to you, our highly esteemed viewers.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. What is your take on depression, Pastor Joel? Through your experience in counseling, what are some of the issues that lead to depression? Or first of all, maybe help us understand what depression is.
Well, in its simplest terms, depression is basically a feeling of helplessness, a feeling that there is no worth in one's life, where you just feel your life is going down the road. You don't feel any sense of value. You don't feel any sense of worth. And the best thing for you to do is just to be isolated and just to keep to yourself and not want to be involved in anything. So basically, that's what depression is in its simplest terms, where you don't want to be with anyone else. There's a feeling of worthlessness. There's a feeling of low self-esteem because of certain circumstances in one's life.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a good definition of depression. And many a times, the drivers understand depression easily, literally, because when the road is straight, and then there is it's going down and up like that, it's called depression. So you are depressed. When you are depressed, the other words is you are low.
Yes.
So in a depression, we pass through the depression.
Exactly.
And so it's how one would be depressed, and so they're isolated, like you are saying, they're isolated and whatnot. And that isolation, how can someone really allow themselves to be isolated? Is it a good thing to do for someone that is watching, that they should choose to be isolated?
Okay. Well, when someone is isolated, there is a positive side to it. Sometimes you need to at least take some time for yourself, like maybe you cut certain things away because you want to refresh yourself, you want to refurbish yourself, you want to be strengthened, you want to have time so that at least you can be built, so that you are built, your mental health is built up, so that at least you are strengthened and you have some time for yourself. But then it can also become harmful when you are thinking of yourself, when you are just by yourself. you don't want to be involved in anything, and you prolong your isolation. Now that's dangerous, because in isolation all kinds of thoughts creep in, all kinds of evil ideas creep in, because many times you're not accountable to anyone else. No one is able, when you isolate yourself, it's like no one can check up on you, no one can say, oh, what's happening in your life, what's going on? And when you isolate yourself like that, when you keep to yourself like that, where you are uninvolved, now that's dangerous. That's very harmful, and that leads to serious issues of one's mental health.
Exactly. No, I hear you, Pastor Joe. Now, there's someone who would say, for me, I just love to be alone or by myself. Maybe 365, someone is just by themselves. They just, they stay in this house. The only thing they do is go to the grocery shop, and then they come back. They cook and whatever they do, and somebody's just all by themselves. How can you tell someone is depressed? How easy is it to understand the person is depressed? How can we know that this person, obviously, they are depressed, or this person has just chosen to isolate themselves? What are some of the marks that we can look at to say, there's depression?
I think the most obvious case is sadness. Like, so you could, for some people you can tell, like, this person is looking low, maybe their head is always hanging down. Maybe you try to greet them even in a lively way, like, oh, morning, then that person is like, morning, and you can just tell from the tone of their voice that they're not interested in what you're saying. They're feeling low, they don't feel like they don't want to be involved. That's the most obvious sign. Sadness and one's tone of voice. You can just tell from their reactions, even when you greet them, and you can see that indeed something is wrong. So that's the most obvious sign. But then again, we also have to look at the subtle side of it. There are actually people who can mask depression. They can actually look bubbly, they can look joyful, even crack jokes, but deep down inside, they are depressed. It takes a lot of discernment, it takes a lot of sensitivity actually for certain people to see that this one is depressed, because certain people can mask it. You find someone is a well-known comedian, and then you just hear, that comedian committed suicide, and everyone is shocked, but this person was always laughing, this person was joyful, this person was bubbly. So sometimes it's also hard to tell. Sometimes people have a way of masking it up.
I like what you're saying, Pastor, that people mask it up. That has to do with pretense or hypocrisy. Could it be that some people are depressed and they are maybe in church, they could be doing... Can someone be depressed and they're doing normal chores of life? They can be doing everything, interacting and whatnot, but meanwhile they are depressed. Is it possible for someone to fake depression? Or to feign it, that it's not, they don't show it, but it's inside, like you have said of a comedian who is entertaining people, but meanwhile they are depressed themselves. So is it possible for someone to do that?
Yes, it is very possible, even in the church. And that's why this topic is very important, because a pastor or an elder can also be depressed. A senior pastor, a bishop can also be...
bishop being depressed?
It is possible.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Please speak more into that. How can they be depressed?
Yeah, because sometimes when you look at it from the perspective of a pastor or a bishop or an elder or someone just serving the Lord fervently, sometimes the pressures of life actually get to us. Sometimes we have to, there's always this issue of us trying to be strong. We can't show any weakness. Why? Because people look at us as pastors as a solution to their problems, to say, oh, pastor is going to pray for me. I have a problem, I have a burden. So pastor is going to help me sort out that problem. Pastor, let me call him. Sometimes people can call you at midnight, people can call you at 0102 just to talk to you. And sometimes there is no me time for a man of God, because sometimes we are always busy, always trying to sort out people's problems, always trying to look for a solution for somebody. And sometimes depression can creep in because we tend to also get overwhelmed with people's problems. You have to cancel a marriage, you have to cancel a rebellious teenager, you have to cancel this one's addiction, this one maybe has a problem with betting, this one has a problem with that, divorce, whatever, and all these problems sometimes get to you as a man of God, or even as a Christian counselor, or as someone just serving fervently, because so this depression also can get to a man of God, because men of God are also human beings. Remember Elijah in the Bible also got depressed. He was this mighty prophet, and he slew the prophets of Baal, but then also got depressed. At some point he felt alone, he felt afraid, and even ran away from Jezebel, whom he could have easily defeated. So sometimes the pressures of life do get to a man of God, do get to someone who's serving the Lord with all they've got faithfully as much as they can. So it's the pressures of life which also get to them, because they're busy helping other people with their problems. But when you get to notice, you find maybe there's even no one to help that man of God with his own problem, with his own issues.
Pastor Joe, you bring so much truth, depth to the discussion. I mean, as you were talking, I was made to think of Jethro. You know, Moses.
Yes.
He was so much involved dealing with the Israelites. The many they were, and he would be counseling them, this one after another, one after another. So Moses was so busy attending to the Israelites' issues, this, that. It took Jethro, his father-in-law, who sat him down and said, what you're doing is not right. Choose the elders who will do this work on your behalf. So, like you are saying, a man of God, a bishop, a pastor, can easily get depressed because they are doing so much, and at the expense of their health, at the expense of who they are, then they get depressed. It speaks even to national leaders. Someone may be president, or maybe minister, they may be pope, or whoever, each and every human being. If you are so much attending to people's issues, people's problems, at the expense of your own health, depression can easily creep in, and then somebody can suffer and die from depression. So what you're saying actually speaks to that fact that people can be depressed regardless. So depression covers for it can affect anyone. It has no limits. Can a child be depressed?
Yes, even a child can be depressed, unfortunately.
How, when they don't have those pressures of life? How can a child get depressed?
Well, sometimes children find themselves in different situations. Sometimes maybe a child is starved of their parents' love. You know, sometimes a parent can be too busy trying to provide for that child, always running up and down, that they fail to find time with this child. They fail to find time to spend with the child. For instance, maybe a child lives in an area like Ibex, Meanwood, or Kablonga, one of these fancy areas, and their parent maybe is a successful businessman or woman, a lawyer or a doctor or a politician. But then the focus maybe on the parent is looking after that child, providing for that child. Or by the time that child turns 16 or 18, this child will already have a vehicle. If this child does very well in school, I'll buy this child a vehicle, or I'll buy this child a special gift, or maybe even promise them a house or something because of the wealth that parent has. But sometimes the parent is too busy and the child feels neglected. That's why sometimes you find, oh, this child has grown up in a well-to-do family, but how come they've ended up in a rehabilitation center? So sometimes the mistake that's made for a child, even a young child, to feel depressed is sometimes the child will feel neglected. Maybe the parent is always too busy, and the child feels, why aren't mommy and daddy talking to me, or why don't mommy and daddy want to play with me? I am showing them this, but then mommy is always on the phone, daddy is always on the phone, daddy is always rushing for a business meeting and is always running late, but can't find time to play with me.
So, Pastor Joe, how can someone overcome mental issues or depression? What are some of the ways in which somebody can overcome depression? Someone is watching out there and they are saying they're depressed, they're in this situation. How can they overcome depression? Or how can how can it not affect their mind? What must they do?
Okay, I think one of the practical ways to combat depression is to be fully involved in your environment and maybe see a need that needs to be met even in your environment, because we live in a world where there is a lot of technology, and sometimes this technology actually causes us to keep to ourselves. So sometimes when we keep to ourselves, we get too self-absorbed, and this also tends to impact our mental health, because we are isolated and we are not involved in anything, and sometimes and many times the attention just revolves around us and our own problems. So one of the ways to combat depression is to also get involved, like maybe in volunteer work, or you see a need somewhere, you go and help out. And also I think the second way also is having a healthy social life, not an unhealthy social life, having bad friends or bad peers, but a healthy social life where you discuss constructive things with your peers and see how you can be a solution to other people's problems, or being a solution even to the various challenges in this nation. So it also involves taking that step of being involved and having healthy relationships.
Wonderful. Pastor Joe, a personal question. Have you ever been depressed? So have you ever had a problem in the mind that you thought, and how did you come out and whatnot? Maybe you can share with the viewers,
Okay.
How did you experience depression?
Thank you very much. Well, as a teenager, I would constantly experience depression. Sometimes I would feel, oh, I've grown up, I'm in a family where I'm the only guy. Why don't I have an elder brother? You know, sometimes only guys struggle with that problem, to say, I wish I had an elder brother, because, oh, I've only grown up with sisters, I've only grown up with ladies. Of course, there was that, but then there was no other brother. So sometimes that would also draw me into depression, because sometimes for an only guy, it's a challenge. You grow up with ladies, and sometimes you also develop those mannerisms of ladies, which is inevitable. For a young girl growing up with guys, she can become a tomboy, and sometimes it's a bit acceptable for a girl to be kind of a tomboy. But for a guy who's grown up with ladies, and maybe they start having those characteristics, and then other guys begin to laugh at them at school, it also brings depression upon them. And that's what I struggled with in primary school, even in high school. The issue of also trying to fit in as a teenager, trying to know my place, trying to understand the world. And sometimes I'll just feel like, oh, I want to end my life. I feel so depressed. I feel worthless. I feel like I have no value. But then I was encouraged even by certain people in the church who would understand me. I would share with certain people, with certain youths who were grounded in the Word of God, and they would help me in the Word of God, and they would encourage me to say, you have value. You have purpose. There's a reason why you are here on this earth. You have value. You have purpose. And that's the most important thing to help someone struggling with depression. You encourage them to tell them that they have value. They have purpose. They are not cursed. They are not a worthless thing, because God creates everything with value. So that's the most important thing, even in tackling depression. And that's what I discovered for myself, that I carry value. I'm a person of value. I'm a person of purpose. That's how I was able to overcome it, even through my teenage years, going up even to my late teenage stage.
Okay, so were you a Christian then, or maybe you were not yet a Christian?
I was
when you were going through depression.
Okay, I was actually a believer, because I was led to the Lord at the tender age of 6 by my late mom. So I was already a believer. And sometimes, even if you grow up in a Christian family, you will have these temptations, you will have these struggles, you will have peer pressure. But the important thing is to understand your worth and your value. The important thing is to surround yourself with godly people. And I'm glad I made that choice to say that, oh, I'm struggling with this. I need to confide in someone. I need to talk to someone about this depression. that I am struggling with about this low self-esteem.
You talked about your mom dying.
Yes.
May her soul rest in peace. And it hasn't been a long time when she died. How did you respond to her death? Were you depressed, or what emotions did you have?
Well, I had so many emotions. Sometimes there was shock, sometimes there was denial, there was so much pain, because imagine a situation you've been praying for her to recover, because you believe, oh, God is going to heal her, God is going to heal mom, and we would stand and pray as a family. And when mom passed away, it was a very big blow, and it shattered my world, to be honest. I felt, oh, I've been really close to her. She gave birth to me, and now I have known her for so long. We fought battles together, we've prayed together, and then now she's gone. Now she is no more. So initially, I also struggled with depression. Sometimes I would try to mask it up. Sometimes I would just, of course, go alone in a place and cry. And sometimes I would just feel so depressed, like my world is shattered. I have known this person for so long, but they are no more. And it really hit me hard. And of course, the recovery process is still going on, to be honest, because it's like a really big part of you has been ripped out of you, and you need to find a way to recover from it. And I've just learned to trust in God to just help with the healing process, which is still going on. Some days, that days I still remember her. Oh, how would it be if she was still alive? How would it be if she was here? If she was seeing this, if she was seeing that, she would be so happy. Oh, I was ordained as a pastor, and then but she wasn't there. But then I have learned to just trust the Lord. I have learned to just leave it to the Lord, to say, God, it is your will. God, you are in control of everything, and I surrender this pain to you. I surrender what I'm feeling to you, because it won't change anything.
What would you say to a man who doesn't cry? Because we told as boys in Africa or Zambia that a man shouldn't cry. When your mom has died or your father has died, that you don't cry because you're a boy. Don't cry. Crying is for girls. What would you say to someone that is going through that pain before it gets into depression? Should they cry? Should they shed tears when they've experienced death, a funeral?
Yes. I do encourage even a man or a young man or a boy who's just lost someone very close to them, a mother or a father, to shed tears, to release that pain, to let go of that pain. Because when you release that pain, it won't have a chokehold on you. Because when you say, I'm a man, I shouldn't cry, it just creates this poison in you, because you're holding on to that pain, you're holding on to that sorrow. And actually that so-called manly toughness doesn't help. It will just affect you. It will just cause you to be depressed. It will cause you to be angry. It will cause you to be harsh, or to be just upset all the time. So I just advise, just release it. If you feel it, you just release it. Like maybe even in the stages, like for me in the stages when mom had died, the weeks and months that passed, there are times I would feel that sorrow and go into a room and cry, and just share it with God, to say, I'm feeling this. And in fact, there were also stages where I would cry, where I would even question, why did you allow this to happen, God? How could you allow this to happen? And God in his sovereignty will just make it clear that he is God. He knows why he took her at that time, because he's sovereign and he knows everything. And I just had to surrender so that I can be healed, so that I could be healed.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Pastor Joel, for sharing those insights. So dear viewer out there, if you're watching and you are going through depression, maybe you have a funeral and you pretended you can't shed tears because you're a boy or you're a man, your wife or husband are mistreating you, you're holding it to yourself, you can't tell anyone, you can't express your emotions. That will lead into depression. The best you do to come out is seek the face of God. May God help you. Talk to someone, speak to a counselor, pastor, church leaders, they'll have to help you, or just the elders. Feel free to talk to someone.
Yes.
That will help you overcome depression. So, Pastor Joe, thank you so much for coming to the studio
so much.
and helping us discuss depression. So, dear viewers, we'll take a break. On the other side, we'll approach depression and mental health from a legal point of view. So, stay tuned. I should be joined by a legal mind. Bye-bye.
Thank you.